This podcast is brought to you by the Maryland State Library Agency. The MSLA podcast features presenters from statewide youth programs, as well as learning opportunities for library staff and resources for patrons of the Maryland State Library for the Blind and Print Disabled.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another LBPD guest hour. It's your girl, Ashley. I'm back yet again with another guest. And what's so exciting about this is that you've probably heard of our guest group, the Friends of the Maryland State Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. What you don't know is what you're going to learn about today. And the president of the Friends of the Maryland State Library for the Blind and Print Disabled, wow, that is a mouthful. And what they do, as you will learn, is really provide support so that we can go and do the things that we want to do outside of providing books and magazines in audio and braille format. And our guest is the president. Her name is Melissa Riccobono. She has grown to be a great personal friend. In fact, her daughter actually babysits my toddler, whom you have heard on this podcast on occasion. And what's so fabulous is that Melissa herself has really shaped how the group has unfolded. So welcome, Melissa.
Well, thank you so much, Ashley. Glad to be with you today.
So tell me a little bit about yourself that you want everyone to know about you. Not to put you on the spot, but like,
yeah,
done
absolutely.
So many cool things. Like if you Google your name, it's there. It's like a 10-page bio.
Well, it's hard because I have and do wear a lot of hats. And so sometimes actually when people ask me for a bio, I have a little trouble because I want things that are relevant. So anyway, but for this, I'll tell you a little bit more about me. I was born and raised in Wisconsin. I was born totally blind. So I used the library services in Wisconsin from the time I was very, very little, probably a baby, because my sister is also blind. So my parents knew about the library. My sister got books pretty early on. So I'm guessing that once they figured out I was blind as well, they filled out the paperwork and, got me books. And I definitely remember listening to books. At that point, there were lots of children's books actually on record. And I had a record player from the library that I used to listen to books. Anyway, then of course, later it was cassette. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I have a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in counseling psychology with an emphasis in school counseling. My husband, Mark, and I got married in 2002. We moved out here to Maryland. I was a school counselor for a while at Logan Elementary School in Dundalk. And then we had our first child, and I just decided that it was hard for me to work part-time and feel like I was only a mom part-time. And I was very lucky that my husband was very supportive no matter, what direction I wanted to take, whether I wanted to stay home with our child or whether I wanted to continue to work. And so I decided to stay home. We had 2 more children after that. And I was the president of the National Federation of the Blind of Maryland for a while. Then my husband was elected National Federation of the Blind president on the national level. So I didn't think 2 presidents in the same house was a really good idea. So I resigned from my position as I guess I didn't resign. I just didn't run again for reelection. And now I have 3 children who are ages 19, 16, and 14. I can't believe that has happened so quickly. I am now an audiobook narrator. I have 2 books that are on Audible. I've done some descriptive video voiceover work as well. I do podcast recording and editing and audio restoration. It's sort of a brand new career that has come out of my love of audio, which I always had. And, some people think, well, that's kind of a weird, like you were a counselor and now you're an audio editor. Well, for me, the big the common thread that runs through all of it is stories. when you're counseling someone, what you're really doing is giving them a safe space to tell their story and to
Mhm.
listen to how they see things. And as a narrator, as a podcast editor, as an audio restoration person, what I'm really doing is letting people tell their stories or save their stories for future generations. And even if it's music, it's memories, it's all that. So it's really not as far apart. Obviously the skills are a little different, but it's really not as far apart as maybe you would think when you first look at it. I joined the board of the Friends of the Library, gosh, quite a few years ago, maybe 2018 or so. Sharon Manecki was the president for a while. She's a friend of mine. And so she asked me to join the board. And when she decided to step down, she asked me if I wanted to become the president of the Friends. And so that's one more thing that I'm doing. I'm a volunteer position as the president of Friends of the Maryland Library. And I also do a lot of advocacy work for parents of blind children, making sure that their children have the IEPs that they need to really have the tools and resources that they need to succeed as they go into their futures. And I'm also starting a new chapter of beginning to homeschool our 16-year-old this fall. And so that is going to be different and fun and yet a little bit scary, as all new things are. So that's definitely a new chapter. And we have a brand new freshman in high school. So she's kind of starting her new chapter. So it's sort of a year of a fall, an autumn of newness in the Riccobono
So
house, I guess I would say.
that really makes it a well-rounded way of making a a viewpoint to be president of a friends group for a library. You have a lot of experience to pull on because
Yes, definitely.
libraries do a lot to support their community, and you being president of a friends group that supports a library that supports the community, you have a lot of great experience to do that, right?
Uh,
That's
I
awesome.
I think so, and also I really do. What I didn't say was that I used to take all three of my kids to the library when they were little because it has a great children's area, and it was a place where I they could pick any book off the shelf and I could read it to them because they were print and braille books. And when I
Ah.
was growing up, our library was an hour away, and then the braille books got moved from that library to Illinois, which was like 2 or 3 hours away. And then eventually all the braille books came from Utah, which was even further away. So when I moved to Maryland, I was so excited to be able to go into a library where there were books that I could actually browse and read and where my kids could play. And I took advantage of public libraries too. They had Mother Goose on the Loose. That was a story hour in our local library. At the time, I was in Waverly. So my oldest daughter and I went to that story time a lot. But anytime that she wanted to actually look at a book, it was just her looking at the book. And
Mhm.
so, I was just amazed that there was actually a building here in Maryland. And, I also grew up going to the public library. My mom's a big reader. My mom read to me every night before bed for many, many years. So we always went to the library. We also didn't have air conditioning in our house. So I remember very hot summer days where we would just take books and go to the library just so we had a nice, cool place to sit and read. So I've always loved libraries and I've always felt that they are such an important part of the community. I grew up doing summer reading programs at the library. And so when I came here, it was like, oh, wow, not only is there such cool programming, but there's actually a building I can visit. There's stuff for my kids, even though my oldest is not blind, but my other two are. So then it was even more cool because it was like, oh, good. Now I have Braille readers or future Braille readers that are getting the services. So it's just it. I have loved the library since the very first time I went and saw it here in Maryland, and just continue to love it. And I'm so excited to be able to help support the library in different ways as president of the Friends.
you've talked a lot about the library and why it's important to you, but for someone who isn't familiar with what a friends group is, how would you
Mhm.
describe it? Like you met someone on the street and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know the library. They do great things." And you're like, "Yeah, but you should join the friends." And they're like, "What
Friends.
the heck's the friends?"
The
What would you say?
friends.
Like what would your elevator pitch be?
My elevator pitch is always the friends is the group that can say yes often when the other powers that be say no. So the friends are the people that can say yes to the extras. We support the library in ways that the state agency doesn't allow the library to, um, I don't want to say support itself, but to do everything they might want to do. So let's take an example. Ashley's great about getting different programs to come into the library. So maybe we have a program, maybe it's right over dinner time. And you think, oh, it'd be great to feed the people because, if they're coming over dinner time, they're going to sit better and they're going to be able to absorb more in the program if they're not hungry. And
Right.
okay, we could say like bring your supper. That's fine, but maybe they're coming right from work and that's just not I mean, and again, it's done sometimes like a sack lunch and learn. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do it. But Ashley, because we're a friends group, can say, because the state does not let Ashley buy food. That's one thing that, correct, you cannot do
I nope, not allowed.
with state dollars. You can't do it. And we don't want Ashley to get in trouble. She's way too pretty for prison. We want the audits to be great for the library. And so what Ashley can do is say, hey, friends group, we're having this awesome program. Could you purchase, could you provide food for us? Could you purchase the food so that we can feed the people? And we can say, yes, Ashley, that seems very reasonable. We would love to buy food so we can feed the people. And not only will we buy the food, but oftentimes we will say, here, we'll come and serve the food too, and we'll be a part of the program with you. And those are the kinds of things that the friends do. We also have helped with really big projects as well.
Hmm.
There is the recording studio that is in the basement of the library where books from Maryland authors or books about Maryland are recorded by volunteer readers. Well, a few years ago, that studio really needed upgrades. They needed some software upgrades. I don't know if there was also some remodeling that was needed, but definitely software, the software end, I know for sure. And the Friends was able to raise money for that because at the time, that just wasn't able to be in the budget of the library itself. Not that the library didn't think it was important, but the library has to obviously pay staff. The library has to um, do maintenance for their own building. They have to have phones that work so that when you answer when you call, there's phones that can be answered. They have to have electricity, all these things. And so there just wasn't enough money in the budget for the studio. And so the Friends began to raise money, and we were able, as a nonprofit organization, to raise money and make sure that that recording studio got the upgrade that it desperately needed. And so those are the kinds of things that we do. We partner with the library on programs, providing those little extras, be that food, or when we had our virtual hike, we were the ones that helped pay for the medals so that we could have prizes for the hike. We sometimes will help pay for a program, somebody special to come in, because again, it's just not in the library budget that they can bring someone in or pay them. But of course, there are things we don't do. So we have a memorandum of understanding, which is just a fancy way of saying, here's what we can do, here's what we won't do. So we cannot pay for staff. We cannot pay for building maintenance. We cannot pay the electric bill. Like there are definitely things that no, we can't do. But as long as it's not in that memorandum of understanding that we can't do it, we are more than happy to look at it. And of course, we also need to be good stewards of the money. We can't just go crazy and say, yes, do whatever you want. But we often can and do say, yes, this sounds like a really exciting program or a really nice way to expand what the library can offer, because that's what it's all about for us: expanding the reach, expanding the offerings, making sure that people can look at the library as more than just the place where they can get books and magazines, which is super important, right? That's the heartbeat of what the library does. But libraries should be community driven and community supportive as well. And that's really what the Friends can also help with. And not just things that happen in the library in Baltimore, which of course we do help with those things too, but we really also do try to make sure that we are helping people all around the state, because this is the Maryland State Library for the blind and print disabled. And so we do try, and sometimes around the country. When we opened up our hike, there were people from other places that joined us. And to me, that's just a huge win all the way around.
I gotta tell you, the virtual hike this year really surprised me. When so first off, the Braille medals, getting the okay on that. Oh my God, I did not expect our patrons to love them the way they love them. I
Mhm.
got so many. I have one for you to look at because it is
Oh, I
awesome.
can't wait to see it. Yeah, I
It
haven't
is
seen it,
so.
so that's
No,
exciting.
I have one like wrapped up in my desk. It is like I'm not letting this sucker go. Um, the word community came out so often in the after action report. Um, but you're right, and that's one of the things that that was like one of the things that LBPD in Maryland is known for. We want to be that community center. We want to be that place where even if you are in Worcester County, even if you're in some Somerset, that you feel connected to that person here in Baltimore. You feel
Mhm.
connected to that person. And ironically, when we opened it up to the virtual hike nationwide, when we opened up Roxanne Rios nationwide, I got from California, from Georgia, from New York, people going, I felt like I was part of a community. And
Hmm.
that was so empowering as a librarian. And being able to provide that feedback to the friends group, that, that's going to be great.
Definitely. And we hope it's the first of many to come, because we
Yeah.
want people to get excited. And I mean, the coolest part is the virtual hike. Obviously, it's about learning about a different place, but it's also about reading and literacy. And, you need, we need reading. We need literacy in our lives. I think now more than ever, there's so many more reports now that are coming out that are saying that college students these days just don't have the focus to sit and read something the way that they used to, and that professors are making reading shorter. And I think that's the wrong way. I think somehow now, I mean, maybe it's that instead of making it shorter, I think then maybe if it's really a problem, they should expand the time that they allow for the reading. But I don't think making it shorter is the right way to go. I think it's really helping young adults work that reading muscle and get up to where they can read. But that's a whole other soapbox. But
That's a no,
that's
I got you.
why
I
I'm
feel you.
really excited to make sure that we are providing things that make it fun and make it rewarding to read, because again, reading is really important.
Well, I know one of the plans for for this winter is I already texted you about it. Like I really really want to do a cooking contest. Well, a cookie contest, and one of the things is, we're pulling together all of our cookbooks for adults and youth and
Mhm.
like all that stuff. You got to be
Mhm.
able to read a recipe. Let's
Yes.
yeah, so we're
Yeah.
trying to get that. What? Okay, I've got a good question for you. What do you wish more people knew about the Friends and the work that you do? Like, okay, you've given them your elevator speech. You've told them about all the great things that you are doing, but they're like, I'm not convinced that this is for me. Like, hands down, brass tacks. What would you say that you wanted them to walk away with? Like a feeling of euphoria, a feeling of greatness. Like, what do you want them to walk away with when you're talking to them about that?
I feel like the important thing is that their participation in the Friends, either as a donor, where truly every dollar counts. We are inundated now with give to this, give to that, give. And we only have so many resources, right? Like
Right.
there's only so much money we have. And so to me, the best part about the Friends is you don't, and I know everybody says this, but I think for us, we can really mean it in a way that bigger corporations can't. Um, Bigger corporations, money goes to salaries, money goes to, other places. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but we are truly a very local, very grassroots organization. We have one assistant who does a lot of work. She is paid. Nobody else is paid. And so all the money goes to the things that matter most to us, which is literacy and activities and hands on experiences for people at the library. And also, I mean, what's coming next, which I hope is going to be a question, and maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but we always also want new ideas. And so, one thing that we're really hoping to do is have some kind of a program or programs for kids to teach them more about computer coding. That was a partnership we started this summer, and now we have some kits and we have a partner. So we're really hoping to work on how we get that to happen at the library. We really want to purchase a good quality 3D printer. And maybe that will mean eventually we can print models for patrons. Maybe you've always wanted to feel what the Eiffel Tower is like. And even if you go to the Eiffel Tower in Paris, I mean, yeah, you can touch the wall of it, you can go up to the top, but you're not really going to know the shape of it. You're probably not going to be able to walk completely around the building. So we could maybe do some 3D printing, or maybe people could come in and 3D print. I mean, the sky is kind of the limit. And that's sort of
Hmm.
what the best part is. We sort of think about it and we think, okay, let's buy this equipment, let's make it possible. And then we also take feedback. Okay, we have this 3D printer now, which we don't, but get excited. I think it's coming. So once we have the 3D printer, or if we're going to get a 3D printer, what kinds of things would you like to see? It's not our 3D printer as the Friends. It's not just the library's 3D printer. It's ours to use, to expand, to make things better, to make things possible. And so that's really where I think being a part of the Friends, giving of your treasure, or if you have talents, we're always looking for board members. We're looking for people who are just interested in our work and want to help in various ways. Even just attending the events that we help sponsor. We always have our annual meeting at the end of October. We'd love to have you come and just enjoy the annual meeting. It's not rah, rah, rah. It's us as the Friends. It's like, no, come and join and enjoy. We're offering to you, which is usually a guest speaker of some kind. Again, some food. We like food in the
Yeah, that's
Friends.
true. You always put out a good spread, man.
Yeah, we always have food. And again, that's just part of the community, right? We don't just want people to come and sit and leave. We want people to come and sit and enjoy and ask questions and learn, and then have some time to break bread with one another, to talk with the people at their table, to get to know them a little bit better. I mean, that's really what it's about. And especially now with so much virtual, and you can attend virtually, which is, I think, wonderful. Because if you're in Worcester County or Garrett County and you really just can't drive or ride those hours to get to us, I'm really happy that we can provide a virtual experience for you. But if you ever have the opportunity, that's really where it's about for me, that I feel like we more and more, we just need to be face to face in the same room with people
Mm.
as much as we can, and just talk, just have that experience of being present with one another. And I think that's really important.
I think that's my biggest struggle. I want to do like in-person things, but I also recognize that my patrons, our patrons,
Mhm.
our my friends, everyone is spread out across
Yeah.
the state, and
See.
now ever since I opened up some of our programs nationwide, I'm getting messages from California and Georgia and New York.
Right.
When's the next event? I want to join, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
oh.
and it's great, but I'm like, but it makes it so that it's harder and harder, and then there's always time. There's always bids for people's time.
Yeah.
So being able to do things in a hybrid format is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What you
It is. And
touched,
maybe it's virtual, and maybe we do more breakout rooms and things, because maybe that's the part of the virtual that we, maybe we have like a social, I don't know. And maybe the friends help host. I don't know. There's probably other ways we can do that. We should talk
ah,
about that. But
one day
yeah,
we'll get it. Well, it'll be a seamless experience.
that's right.
It's only 6 years after the world went digital. We'll
Yeah.
figure
Oh my gosh.
But you kind of touched on this. If you, what are you particularly excited about when it comes to upcoming projects? You talked a little bit about the idea of a 3D printer, but like you said, there are some things in the pipeline that the friends are excited about.
Definitely the 3D printing, definitely the coding. I think those are the two really big things. We have, I should say a little bit about our board. So we have people
Oh,
on our board who are, some of us are blind, some of us are from the National Federation of the Blind, some of us are from the American Council of the Blind. And then we also have sighted people who have different things that they bring to the library and to the friends group. So our treasurer is a tax accountant. So he makes sure that we are all good when the auditors come. He is we I mean, numbers are not my thing. I don't really have to worry about it because he has it handled and he reports out, and it's all good things.
shout out
And
to
if we
Mike.
have questions, yeah, shout out to Mike Davis. Exactly. Yeah, he's a good, and he makes sure the bills get paid, like all the things that you would want in a treasurer. He's very, very good.
And he's funny.
Um,
He's
and he's
pretty
funny. Yes,
and he's
yes, he
funny.
is. He's a good guy. Janet Sanford is our vice president, and she has been a librarian in Baltimore County. And then she retired, and she's been a volunteer at the Maryland Library for years. She's done reading in the studio, she helps at the reference desk. And so she's a sighted lady that just really believes in what we're doing and is just passionate about it. And she's also great. She has a lot of talents. So all these people, the board itself, it's me, it's Janet. I'm sorry, the executive board. It's Ellen and it's Mike. We're all kind of in the Baltimore area. Mike's in Glen Burnie. Uh, Ellen is our secretary. She and I are both in Baltimore City, and then Janet's in Baltimore County. And then as we get onto the board, then we have a lot more geographic diversity, as well as just diversity. So we have Liz Cooper, who's in St. Mary's County. We really wanted her on the board. She's an author, but she's also a reading specialist. And she has a really good book with a blind character. And that's kind of how I got to know her. And so, again, sighted lady, but really cares about literacy. And we said, would you like to learn about the Library for the Blind and the Print Disabled? And you're in St. Mary's County. There are people that use the library, but more important, there are people probably that don't even know about it, because I'm always shocked how many people don't know about the services that we provide. So we are really excited to have Liz as part of our board now. We have Marla Migdal, who's in Frederick, and she is our dyslexia piece. She's a literacy coach. Her daughter and or her family, so a lot of family members have dyslexia. She knows about dyslexia. She tutors people. She's a dyslexia expert. And of course, we are the Library for the Blind and Print Disabled. And so now she feels more confident giving the library as a resource to the clients that she tutors, but she's also helping us and making sure that when we do events, we are not leaving the people that have print disabilities behind, that we're, that we know kind of where to reach that community of folks. So that's really important. We have Gary Legates up in, I think he's Carroll County, I believe, retired teacher. He's a blind guy. So I mean, again, we try to have both sighted and blind people on the board. And with the sighted people that join the board, we're really looking for people that have some kind of a connection either to libraries or to our mission, and where they can really help us expand and make our board better just by being who they are. So,
I love
um,
that.
yeah, so we have, but now that I've talked about the board, let me go backward and say that we just had Gina Fugate, Dr. Gina Fugate. She just got her PhD, and she is from the Baltimore County area. She works at the Maryland School for the Blind, and she is the computer science teacher. And so I am so excited to have her on the board, because now when we say, what kind of 3D printer should we get? We have somebody who is a teacher, who's legally blind herself, who can say, this one would be really good, and here are the reasons why. Because of course, if we get it, we want to make sure that blind and sighted people can run it, as much as
Mhm.
possible. We want to make sure that um, it just doesn't sit in a closet. If we're going to get a piece of equipment, we want it to be used. We want it to be out there. And so now we have Gina to not only help us with the 3D printing, which is something that we've been thinking about for a long time, but also with the coding and any other computer type programs, because good or bad, right or wrong, this is kind of where we are. And so having programs about computing, coding, 3D printing, maybe even things about AI, how to use it responsibly. It's not going to go away, I don't think,
No.
much as sometimes I wish it would. And so, okay, how can we have it be a tool that actually is helpful and doesn't take away the complete creative process or the complete authorship, or make you want to pull your hair out because you know that the story you're reading is completely AI generated. And Gina, with her expertise, is somebody that can help with that. So again, it's so exciting, it's so fun, and I'm just very excited about those types of things, which I think are the big things that are going to come to fruition in the next year or so.
I love that. I love that. And when you get the 3D printer, I'm all over that, because
Oh my gosh.
I love my tactile tours, right? And
Yes. Oh my
I think
gosh.
I
Yes.
always do like a map on the swell form, like
Hmm.
to try to like of where we're going. And in fact, we're going to Bordy Farms in September. Bordy Vineyards rather. And the I gotta ask them for a layout so I can make the tactile map. My partner does it in CAD and exports it into a PDF for me so I can run it through the swell form. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I know. He's so good at that stuff. I'm not that I don't do that well with that
Yeah,
stuff.
I understand, but that's why you need a partner. And that's the other thing with friends. I mean, that is really what makes us work, is we're a partner with the
Hmm.
library. The library often provides the sweat equity. We have Ashley, who's talking about the hike and planning it and making it work and excited about it and kind of the front facing. And then we're just the little thing in the background that helps make sure that we have cool Braille medals to give away. Like that's, and or sometimes it's the annual meeting where we're helping to recognize and focus on the volunteers that help with the library. And
Oh
it's sort
yeah.
of, or then we do staff appreciation for the library. So then that's us saying, no, we appreciate you. You help us throughout the year. We're going to appreciate you for this day or these hours. And so it's a great partnership. So partnership, community, friendliness,
I
friends.
love it. Love it.
That's what we're all about.
Friends being friends. That's what it's about.
Mhm. That's what it's
Uh,
about.
so we're gonna wrap it up with a couple of quick fire questions, but So besides giving a donation, what are some other ways people can get involved?
I think the big ways are if you want to see the library do something or you have an idea for a program, a project, I think reaching out either to Ashley or to me as president of the Friends and saying, could we do something like this? We're here for you, the patron. So we don't want to just do things in a vacuum. If there are things that you'd like us to do or you want us to do more of, or oh, we haven't done one of these things for a long time, where did they go? Please let us know, because we want to do things that are meaningful. Attending events. I mean, if we have these speakers come in and nobody comes, then
Mm.
that's really sad. Or we have these programs and nobody comes, that's sad. And so please attend the events. Tell us if you're interested in being on the board. Tell us if you're interested in helping in other ways. Maybe, I mean, sometimes we get a chance to staff tables somewhere. If you really love the library and you'd like to help us with things like that, let us know. Or, oh my gosh, I'm super excited about the 3D printing. Can I help with the training, or can I help run the printer? Can I volunteer? I mean, volunteering at the library, sometimes it's people that kind of find that volunteer through the Friends. Sometimes they find it through the library, but either way, you can come. It's cool because you have two ways in. um, Gosh, what else? Giving those ideas, maybe offering to host a Zoom meetup for people that are further away, talking to us about, like, let's have a monthly meeting for people that use the library, and just where we can talk to each other. Or maybe we talk about something to do with the library for the first hour, and then we have like a half an hour to be in a breakout room and just talk. I mean, I don't know what it would look like, but if there are things that you feel like you've always sort of wanted and you think that we could maybe do these with the library, book club, I don't think we've done a book club for a
We
little while.
haven't.
Do we
No,
want to
not
bring
in.
that back? I mean, again, there are many ways to get involved, and just because we're not doing something right now doesn't mean that we're not willing to do it or that we wouldn't do it. We just might not have thought about it, or we might not have known that there's really this desire for it. And so we are more than happy to help you see if that can be part of what we end up doing. So again, just be in touch. Let's have a conversation or send an email, and let's talk. Let's talk about it.
So for those who are listening, I want you to know that the website is friendsmdlbpd.org. That's friends, MDLBPD.org. You can also call the library or email the library directly, and we can send you the link to their website. On their website, they have, of course, the homepage with a wonderful video that talks about what makes the Friends and the library uh, a wonderful relationship. They have an about section. The about section talks about the little bit about the history of the Friends, fact that they started in 1980s, um, and some of the things that they have done over the years, but awards that they have given out, and especially when it comes to Braille literacy. One thing that I do want to close out with that the Friends and the library are very passionate about is literacy, whether it be auditory or Braille. Literacy is important, and that literacy doesn't mean simply reading, it means comprehension as well. Of technology. That's why we have Jerry doing Jerry things, because we love Jerry. Um,
Yes,
yeah,
we do.
and
Yes, we do.
and Jerry's who I go to troubleshoot anything because he usually knows the answer.
Yes. And
And
maybe we should have a friends thing that's Ask Jerry. You just come and you ask
I could
Jerry.
just should we just have an Ask Jerry subreddit?
I love this. I love this.
Um,
Anyway,
they
I'm making work for Jerry. Sorry, Jerry.
I see him. Yeah, I'm gonna get a text after this podcast goes live. I see that coming. It talks about when their next meetings are and any special events that they have, how you can donate and how you can volunteer. So I encourage you to visit their website. If you're looking to dip your toe in the water, so to speak, I highly encourage you to join the annual meeting. You
Hmm.
do RSVP so that they know that you're coming. That's very important. The reason why is because we want to make sure there's enough food to feed you. Um, but the annual meeting is always a blast. I'm always running around taking pictures because that's something that I just absolutely love to do. My big DSLR camera. Uh, there's always multiple speakers. They give out awards to students. They give out awards to individuals that they're recognizing for great accomplishments. But there's also games. We love games.
Hmm. We
Uh,
do.
we do, and I think was last year there was like a form of bingo, but it wasn't quite bingo. It was something else.
No, we did a
What
raffle.
was it? A raffle?
It was a 50-50 raffle,
Oh, okay.
and you got, I think for a second. I think the people bought an author, and then the ticket that we drew was a book. So you had to match your author
Oh, okay.
with your book. And so we talked about, I think we had everybody go around and talk about what author they had purchased. And then when we drew, the winner, and they got half the money. I think we're going to do something like that again. That people really seem like they liked that it was
Yeah,
more
people
fun
love
than
drawing.
just numbers. And so
They all blend.
I think we're going to do that. Or maybe we'll do like the first part of a title, and then the drawing will be the second part. I will have to think about that, but
Well,
we're gonna do something. We'll do
my
something fun.
Cricket's open. If you need
Oh,
decorations, my Cricket is
oh,
open because I have
you have a
no
cricket. Oh, so fun.
my Cricket is dead right not dead. Like I have no projects right now. None of my friends need my
Oh,
Cricket. It's always on.
oh my goodness. Well,
So
thank you for telling me. I might need your cricket. This is good to know.
well, I have all my friends are like, oh no, we're good this fall. I'm like, what'd you do? Buy your crafts? That's so
Ah,
weird.
man,
But
that
no,
is weird.
but yeah, I'm always busy in the fall, and this year they're just like, like okay, everyone's out of town.
Oh,
But no, I highly encourage everybody to come because you get a chance to meet people face to face, number one, but number two, you get a chance to meet library staff,
mhm.
and you get a chance to meet a lot of the support that the library staff get through the friends, and see how we work collaboratively to develop the programs and events that we do, because it's not done in a vacuum.
Right.
And
This
that's,
year it's October 24th. That's a Saturday. I
yep,
think we generally start, I think the doors open at 9:30. I think programming usually starts around 10.
yep.
And it's usually done by, noon or 1. Again, because we have the food. So, we want
And
you
this
to
year
eat.
isn't it's a journalist, Dan
Dan
Roderick.
Rodricks, yes, who, I mean, people who listen to NPR will probably know him.
Yep.
He also worked at the Baltimore Sun for many years. He's going to be fascinating. I'm really excited. That was Janet Sanford that, I don't know if she knows him or just wanted him to come. A few years ago, my big one was Phyllis Reynolds Naylor, who is a children's and adult book author. She wrote uh, one of my favorite series ever, the Alice books.
Mhm.
And she actually came. I mean, that was, I don't know. Some people get excited about movie stars. I was very starstruck by Phyllis Reynolds Naylor. And when I actually wrote to her and then she wrote me back, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to Phyllis Reynolds. I'm sure she's like, whatever, you're weird.
Uh,
But we got her to come. So we do try to get really entertaining speakers to come, mostly that talk about writing and being authors and how their craft is developed and that type of thing. So it's always a really good time. And we do have the Estelle B. Williamson Award,
mhm.
which Ashley mentioned. That is an award for it used to be strictly Braille literacy type projects. So things like we bought homeschool kids that were homeschooled Braille displays so they could use those. We bought teachers who were earning their Braille certification an embosser so that they could print Braille at home. Things like that were what we did pretty much exclusively in the past. We've actually expanded it a little bit. A couple years ago, maybe it was just last year, I don't remember. We had a family, their son, they homeschooled him for various reasons. And because he's homeschooled, he doesn't have an option to have somebody teach him orientation and mobility, so travel skills. And he is a kid who has a fair amount of vision during the day, but little to none at night. And not just at night, but in the dark. So places like movie theaters, theaters when you go watch a musical, a planetarium, anywhere where it's dark, he all of a sudden loses any of the vision that he has normally. And so his mom really wanted him to have practice with an orientation and mobility instructor. Specifically, he's 10. She's like, I want to take him to the movies and I want him to be comfortable at the movies. And I mean, other places too. I'm not saying that I don't, think other places are important, but like these dark places, I want him to feel like it's okay, that he knows he's going to be safe, that if God forbid in the middle of a movie he wants more popcorn or he has to go to the bathroom, he can go and do those things and feel comfortable and then come back and find me safely and with his cane. And so we actually gave a grant because for us it kind of went beyond literacy in that way, but it went more beyond and more into just life, living life. And if he's able to get around, that's going to help him in all the ways of living in the world as he gets older. And so, if you know somebody that's in need of some equipment or some financial help, we also have helped people go to different conferences. I think the grant for the orientation mobility was a couple years ago. Last year, we actually supported, before she was on the board, we supported Gina Fugate. She went to Amsterdam and was able to present on tactile, um, like how she teaches and the creation of tactile graphics and different things like that. So check out the Estelle B. Williamson Award. We love to give it. And the application's always open and it's on our website. And we'd love to know what it is you might want to win.
I think that's another form of literacy right there. Orientation and mobility is another form of literacy. Environmental literacy, environment
Yes.
movement
Yeah.
literacy.
And then tactile graphics, maps,
Hmm.
like you were saying about the maps, like you need to
Yep.
be able to read those maps. And I mean, so it does, it all kind of goes together. And of course, if you're reading, that means you probably want to travel to the places that you're reading about. And, so that just sort of, it all blends.
It
But
does.
we also like, again, we like to say yes. And this is a need right now where there's more and more families that are homeschooling. And once you decide that that's what you want to do, you are kind of on your own for a lot of different things like that. And, we don't want it to be, well, a kid over here whose family makes this much money can have such and such, but this kid down in this area whose family are, not as financially well off, they don't get that. And that just doesn't seem fair. So as much as we can, we want to be able to help and be an equalizer. And we understand again that something relatively small like a braille display that some people would think, oh, that's not really a big deal. Well, that thing, I mean, the kids that we gave those braille displays to are now graduated from high school and are both going to go to college. And no, I mean, there was a lot of other work. I'm not saying it was just because the friends gave them their braille displays that they succeeded, but it certainly didn't hurt. And it certainly did. And they're both very good braille readers and, very good writers and use braille every day and are very literate. And so, yeah, we can say, yeah, we did good. That was money really well spent. We really did help them along their way, and they really were able to use what we gave them. And it seems like it helped them.
I love that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up here. Melissa, thank you so much. If you wouldn't mind hanging on the line when I stop the recording, that would be great.
Sure.
All
Thank
right,
you guys.
everyone.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, guys. Well, I hope to have you guys back next month. If you have any questions about your account, please make sure you reach out to the library, because we want to make sure that you're getting all the books and magazines that you enjoy. And of course, sign up for our newsletter so that you never miss out on programs and events, because I will send you an email to remind you about all the cool stuff that we do. Upcoming events include in September a tactile tour of Bordy Farms, or Bordy Vineyards, I should say. So that information will be on our website shortly. Thanks so much, guys, and see you soon.
This has been a presentation of the Maryland State Library Agency. For links to additional resources provided by today's presenter, please visit the show notes. For more information on MSLA or the Maryland State Library for the Blind and Print Disabled, visit marylandlibraries.org.